What is going on, people? Welcome back. Johnny here, and we are going to pick up with Gotrik in a minute. As you can see, by end of episode here, he's going to have himself a little wizard ally. But in the meantime, I have a sweet new logo made that was done by Dino, who does most of the artwork for this series. If I didn't do it, he did it, outside of a few rare examples. And he's really awesome. He's over on the Discord. You can see this one's going to go quite far, but clearly Gotrik does survive to the end, although it's not looking good. So let's pick up at the beginning here. Gotrik in bed, feeling okay, still alone. Keeps riding these goats inside. Not really sure why he does that. Then it just makes a mess for him to clean up. But hey ho, there you go. Regardless, still a Jabba beast hanging out nearby. He's got his fence up, but that doesn't really seem to affect any of the wild predatory animals. He's got to keep up with the regular stuff. He needs to clear up some space by doing smelting. He's got weapons and slag laying about. He also has to finish up some research and consider harvesting some ambrosia. These trolls keep creeping in. The animals are nothing but a non-stop problem around here. He also has to find some time for himself to try and maintain his sanity. He doesn't do too bad at that, though. He's a little leery of the trolls, and he does rather enjoy troll meat, so they do look a bit tasty. He's working on a passive cooler. There was a heat wave, and he started this research, so he's going to see it through to the end. True dwarven perseverance. But at the moment, it's not really meaningful. He's just going to finish it out while the animals storm around outside. The potatoes are still a top priority. And as is spending some time by himself. It's just pretty much all he has to do when he's not talking to one of the goats, riding it around. It's pretty long days for this fella. He does wrap up the research. He's been meaning to get into a few other things. He needs to figure out how to make some properly dwarven doors that are sturdy, not these shabby wooden jobs. Just knows by default. There's a series of Mournfangs outside, and they're doing some bad stuff to the other wildlife, but at least they're staying away from his goats for the moment. He's considering building a large wall and closing a proper area. Somehow he has a feeling there's some wild people wandering around. He also believes them to be dwarfs for whatever it's worth. He doesn't know where they are, and he doesn't have access to them, though. So he's just going to keep doing his thing for the moment. He's got some goat meat due to the goats that the wild animals took out. And other animals keep trickling in the form of carcasses half eaten by Mournfang and trolls. He's not too proud at this point to be consuming that. A meteor falls nearby. Looks to be compacted steel, which will be useful. He runs into that situation. For the moment, though, he's not going to bother. He does need to spend some time cleaning. This place is quite a mess. There's all manner of wild animal in his animal pen. And then a mad goat shows up, or goes mad out of the blue. He decides just to stay inside and not do too much for as long as he can. He does have some pretty solid magic to deal with it. So he shoots it with his arrow, charges it with his pickaxe. He's about at a point where he can cast a spell to improve the quality of his pickaxe again. This battle with the goat is a real slap festival until he finally takes it down. He does get a bite on a leg, but at least he ends up with some more goat meat. He's still sitting on plenty of medicine to take care of his wounds. Finds some abandoned dwarven technology nearby. He also realizes his fence has been knocked down by that mad goat, so he's got to get that fixed lest his animals wander off, for whatever it's worth. And that abandoned dwarven technology should get him some components and steel. An ogre shows up with some stuff to trade at that point. Somebody asked about these guys. This is a donators only mod currently because it's a whip. When it gets completed, it'll roll out to the public, but at the moment, he sells what he can to the ogre trader. Some of the ambrosia, some crap that people have left him that he's taken down. Meanwhile, the wild Mournfang continue to wreak havoc among the other wildlife. Those beasts truly are frightening. One of them gets a hold of one of his goats. Not a lot he can do. He doesn't feel like he can take the thing down. And it's not long before some attackers show up. One of them's a dwarf, which he finds deeply intriguing. Doesn't care for someone who's greedy, but he himself is greedy, which is the theory of the whole playthrough. But someone who doesn't do dumb labor is not going to be a lot of use as well. Then he decides to gear up. He's got a spell that'll turn someone into a golden statue. Not 100% chance of success, but lo and behold, it works. He frightens off the dwarf. Decides he's going to mount up on his goat, Savannah, and try and catch the person that's running away on foot. Being that they're a dwarf, they should be a little slower. But since he has his goat to ride, he's going to try for a glory shot and take the person down. He does manage a hit, but that sneaky dwarf gets away. He really wanted an ally. It's just not meant to be. In the meantime, though, he's got a golden statue, thanks to his magic spell. He can feel his greed increasing, and he's finally making some progress towards his goal of having 1,000,000 gold pieces around. He disassembles the statue for 500 mighty gold. Decides he's going to build a shelf to keep the gold safe inside, lest it be stolen from his crappy barn structure. Finally gets around to deconstructing the ancient dwarven technology from a battle long since past. It's time for bed once again. He does have a goat inside, and its bleeding is keeping him awake. But it's nice to have a pile of gold. Dwarves do enjoy, just as a basic recreation, sitting and staring at gold. He gets through all of his butchering, also gives them a bunch of extra material. His potatoes are looking nice. He's keeping everything tidy. He is a very particular dwarf. And he also has some smoke leaves that fell out of the sky. When he's not doing much else, he's turning those into smoke leaf joints. Casanova is getting attacked by a Mournfang. And at that, Gotrik's had about enough. Does what he can from a distance. He's really upset about the fact that Casanova died. He did give that cat a massive magical cut, but it's not going to be enough to take it down, it looks like. He's going to spend some serious time upset about the loss of Casanova. He contemplates it while he's cooking, and he's thinking about that damn cat. He decides to go out there, see what he can do to do some additional damage to it at the longest range possible. He does shoot it with another magic arrow, slices its nose off. It does look to be bleeding out. He stays on top, getting out there, shooting the bastard, the magic that he has at his disposal. If the thing goes mad on him, he's going to be in trouble. Meanwhile, there's smoke leaf joints to deal with. He's got a rat that's self-tamed. He's not sure it's not a spy for the Skaven, but he names it Jerry. Nonetheless, feels like he doesn't have a lot of secrets at this point, so he's going to keep the little bugger around, just teach him a few tricks and play. While he's banging on his drum, thinking about dealing with that Mournfang, contemplating the loss of his goat. That was his favorite goat. Now it's just laying in the dirt dead. He's going to have to butcher it soon. He really doesn't like the idea of staring at it all the time, thinking about it. Regardless, he comes down with the flu. That ogre must have been sick that showed up. He's a little frustrated by that. There's not a lot he can do about it. And then poorly tend it and lay in bed for a while. He's doing fine with it. He doesn't believe it's going to take him down. Nonetheless, he's at a point where he's not getting a lot done due to his illness, other than sitting around, laying in bed, trying to keep himself fed. His meat's rotting away. The Mournfang finally expired. He did go out and drag it in. At least there's some justice for his goat. Mornfang continued to sniff around. Oros is all grown up. He was just a tiny baby when he was named. And Gotrik lays in bed, dealing with his illness. He is recovering to some degree. Decides to get up and do some smoke leave. Gulgig's rescue was a failure. Gotrik couldn't get away. A giant magical snake attacks and kills another one of the goats. The damn thing looks terrifying. He decides to let it lay for now. He's done some butchering of goats and cats, and for some reason left the cat's hide sitting outside. Makes it a point to go pick that up. Another wild person's nearby. Somehow he senses that through the mountain. Perhaps it's just one dwarf to another over there. Meat's rotting away. His meals have rotted away. He's sick. He's having a hell of a miserable time again here. But he is on the upswing, despite barfing next to his bed a few times. Jerry's keeping him company too. Still has a decent amount of goats. Savannah's around. Still misses Casanova. Another rat self-tamed, but was immediately slain by the giant snake. He's not sure if he should do something about that thing or if he should let it go, but he's more than a little frustrated with all the issues he's having with the insane wildlife around here. Such is the old world of Warhammer, though. Keeps his fires fueled. He's fully recovered from his flu. He is pretty stinking hungry. He gets to the business of cooking. All of a sudden, he's not feeling well again. Believes he's come down with malaria, whatever the heck that is. He doesn't much know, but he does know he's got to tend himself, or at least try. It's a very unsuccessful attempt at that. He cleans up the barf in his room, and he's back to bed with the malaria this time. It's about that time that a chaos storm starts. He realizes at this point he's not going to be able to keep all these goats alive. There's not a lot he's going to be able to do in general, being that he's sick, has some major recovery time ahead of him. He does need to build a wall, make some more space, plan on bringing a lot of his stuff in. He can't be stricken down with a madness right now, and he knows many animals are going to be before too long. He finalizes his walls, moves some stuff around and builds some. Opens up his space a little bit, and despite his illness getting the better of him, it's at that time some schmuck shows up to attack him. He's right in the middle of tending himself, and that's vitally important. Somewhat more successful than the last time. So he heads to his door. His malaria problem's no better than it was moments ago. And he brings his magical arrow to bear, blasts this fella named Boar, decides he's got no choice but to charge with his pickaxe. Exchanges blows for a while. It's a heated battle. It's really hard when you're sick to do anything decent. But at least the guy had the decency to leave him some medicine. There's a crappy wooden club. He's just going to leave that laying in the dirt. Decides he's not going to haul the body off for the moment. He's going to get back inside. Somehow there's more meds on the ground. Feels like it probably fell out of his pocket. So he's going to go inside. He's going to tend himself. He cannot believe his ill fortune coming down with this disease stuff. He hears crazy Mornfang howls from across the canyons. And at that point, he's eating a meal of raw potatoes, goes down and simply cannot stand anymore. Right next to his pile of gold, does develop immunity, feels like he's on the upswing, just has no choice but to lay there. When he finally does get up, his fence has been destroyed. He goes outside before he realizes there's a lot of mad animals out there due to the chaos storm. Continues to tend himself, and then he goes a little bit crazy. She does recover from before too long, but he is injured, and he is trying to sleep when a wizard falls nearby. Hayes is his name. Gotrik wastes no time doing everything he can to get out there and retrieve Hayes. As he was doing that, another human showed up, tried to take him out, but with the magic arrows, it brings the man down. He's got himself tended. It's pretty touch and go for a while there, but it seems like his diseases have passed. And Hayes decides, hey, why don't you give this place a name? This is the Mountain Vault, and this faction is the Gold Home. He has to go retrieve the staff that Hayes dropped. He braves the Chaos Storm to bring that in. At the very least, it'll be useful to prevent himself from miscasting. And if Hayes recovers, it'll be good for him. Perfect weapon to keep a wizard from miscasting as frequently. Gotrik has to keep meals on the table. The Chaos Storm rages. There's goats rotting outside the door, and there's a dead human laying there. Hayes has some magic that can cure wounds, so he immediately, upon waking up, deciding to join Gotrik for a while in this quest for gold, heals himself before taking some time to have fun. Once again, Gotrik comes down with an illness. This time he's beplagued. The Plague Lord Nurgle is not being kind to our boy Gotrik this time around. He hears all manner of wild animals and their noises screeching through the canyons. Hayes has a battle with a Mournfang. Somehow sneaks its way in when a door was left open with potatoes. Some cheese falls from the sky, which is going to be very useful in these tough times where we can't get outside and make food or hunt as well due to the storm. Gotrik's plague is going just fine. He is a hardy dwarf. He does have some bonuses over humans to recovering. Critters continue to go crazy across the mountain range nearby. And, best case scenario, the magical snake has gone down. Gotrik's still angry at it, taking out one of his goats and his second pet rat. As Gotrik's tossing horseshoes over Hayes, he realizes that human has an infection. That's going to be very touch and go. He has to race out and get himself some medicine to treat Hayes. He also has to plan on doing some cleaning, because if he doesn't, Hayes isn't going to make it with another infection. So he tends him as best he can, which isn't that great. Besides, he's off to bed. The Chaos Storm continues to rage. Gotrik's plague is under control. Hayes' situation, not very good. And with that, we have to call it another day. The critters are crazy. The Chaos Storm is causing a lot of problems. And we might be lucky to make it through another episode if the storm doesn't end. Please leave me a comment. I read them all and I do respond. Leave me a like at the very least. I love you guys and I will see you all next time.